The Energy Dialogues, brought to you by EnergyNow. The Energy Dialogues is a series of podcasts that showcases companies, events, and topics that are part of our energy industry. Today's Energy Dialogue guest is Tracy Reed from Drillform Technical Services. And now, your host for today's Energy Dialogue, David Yeager.
Tracy, welcome to Energy Dialogue,
Thank you.
which is an interesting opportunity to learn more about the service industry. And I've been at this for a while, and I'm looking forward to this because I just know so little about the company. And so, take it from the top. What the heck is a Drillform? Where are you from? What are you doing?
Sure. Well, we are not necessarily new to the industry. Drillform's been around since about 2010. However,
That's pretty new.
Yeah, it's pretty new, I guess, but it's not our first entry into this market. We had a prior company called Pragma, which started about early 2000s. Did really well, specialized in automated floor wrenches, also called iron roughnecks and automated pipe handlers.
Yeah.
And
I was a founder of Tesco Corporation.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah, so I worked on the rig, so I'm not unfamiliar with the
Excellent.
equipment. Yeah.
Well, we're very fortunate in that regard, and we were very successful. And in 2006, we were acquired by a major international driller. And as sometimes happens in these deals, there's a few folks left behind to make it.
What company was that?
Pragma Engineering
Okay.
was acquired in June of 2006 by Neighbors International.
Really?
And it became rebranded as Canrig Technology.
Oh, Canrig. I mean, yeah, I know Canrig.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we've done this before. We know what it takes to commercialize a line of equipment, and we also learned some things along the way that we would have done differently. So
Okay.
This is our second chance.
Huh. Well, you're based out of.
Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shop in the usual spot somewhere in the industrial parks?
Yes. We were actually, when we were started in 2010, we actually kept the same shop space as we had been when we were branded, when we were with Canrig. And people kept calling. They didn't care what name was on the building because they knew we were pretty good at servicing our equipment.
Right.
Since then, what the leadership decided to do was take a look at, instead of just doing service, how do we, move into this market, and where is the biggest need for equipment like ours? They decided to start with the floor wrench because they felt that it was the area that had the least amount of attention in terms of innovation.
Okay.
In fact, one of our biggest competitors is our former design. So they started to do that. We actually spudded our first well in January of 2015, right in time for the oil prices
slump.
to
Yeah,
go
absolutely,
to
yeah.
hell in a handbasket. And so we've actually stayed pretty low the last couple of years. We were very fortunate. We're a private company, no bank debt. We just hunkered down and sort of waited to see where this was going to come out of. And we really absolutely feel that now is the time to start re-engaging in those conversations. We've been having conversations along the way, and people have been very open to that because they're all looking to sort of do new things with less.
Right. So your client is a drilling contractor?
Yes. Our equipment would go directly onto the rig.
Right.
More and more what we're finding, though, is that operators are, having an influence, especially with some longer-term contracts that you see.
Okay.
And the reason that that's important to us is a lot of the benefits that we bring to the table benefit the operator ultimately as well. Things that would sort of resonate with them is in the past, the drill string maybe was owned by the drilling contractor or the operator. It needed repair. It would be fixed, maybe marked up slightly, and that bill would be passed along to the operator's cost of doing business. It's a consumable. As the well profiles have changed, the drill pipe has become higher spec, more expensive, double-shouldered. It's a little more expensive asset.
And increasingly not owned by the driller, or you just want to take better care of it?
They do want to take better care of it.
Yeah.
If a drill string's $250,000 and you can make it last for a couple more wells,
then
that makes sense. And the reason we're able to do that is we grip the pipe in a completely different way than every other competitive wrench.
Sure, make up and break out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Accurate torque is a big deal.
Right.
More and more, again, longer horizontals, bigger problems. The longer you go out. So we're able to capture that torque for the last 1,000 connections and make sure that it's within 50 or 60,000 foot-pounds.
Of ideal API spec.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, look, okay, tell me about market timing. Why now? I still don't get it. I thought that there was a massive rig build took place, say, from when they went from vertical to horizontal, from, say, 2009 to 2015.
Yep.
And then everybody rolled up their capital programs. So I can understand your economic usefulness during this period.
Yes.
And now is there enough activity going out there? They want to upgrade the rigs again? What do they want to lower the manpower? Like, well, what are the trends in the industry that would cause you to think that things have improved?
There's a couple of things that are happening. Obviously, with the downturn, a lot of rigs got laid down. They won't come back.
Yeah.
They're not.
No, I've written about that.
They're not appropriate for the market any longer. The first rigs that will come back, though, will be ones that if they want to, take that residual asset and make it applicable to today's market, they'll look to retrofit it.
Right.
Our products are perfectly suited to that.
Yeah.
We are looking at a fairly significant shift in manpower and there's been a lot of talk about the great crew change and the lack of farm boys that are mechanically inclined.
Well, no, I mean, there's no question that the concept of increasingly automating drilling rigs has been around a long time.
Yep.
And having a few less warm bodies, less fingers to smash, less guys to drug test, less problems,
Well, and the new sort of, person to the drilling floor is pretty adept with their iPhone and apps, and they're comfortable with that technology. That differs slightly from some of the older drillers that could tell by, the feel of the tongs.
They used to ask us to listen to the mud pump.
Exactly.
And,
so, we bring a lot of value. There's not a lot of... I sometimes use the analogy, the difference between knowing when to shift a standard and just driving an automatic. If you've never driven a standard, you don't know what it feels like. You don't know when to shift. So we really feel that that's going to have a significant impact on the industry moving forward. Obviously, as you say, there's been a lot of talk about automation and big data.
Well, just less people, that's for sure. Thinking a little more, yeah.
Yeah, and so, that's really where we come in. Now, there's a lot of talk around the automation side, and there's certainly companies that are looking to automate via software, and so they're making they're maybe pulling different equipment from different providers and aftermarket software making them talk. What we're suggesting is that if you design equipment with the intent of integration, and you actually look at it from a mechanical perspective as well, that there's a significant value add that we can bring to the table.
Well, no, is that where are you going down the smart drilling software path? Is that what you're saying?
You know what, right now, we really feel that from a mechanical perspective, you have to make sure that you have enough units out in the field that they have demonstrated their abilities on their own. Software is absolutely where we're going, whether that be on our own or in partnership with somebody else.
Okay.
But the whole intent is to make that an integrated process. We're a small company, we get that. We play in a very big sandbox against very large competitors. But we really feel that we bring something unique to the table, and that's really where little companies like ours have a fit.
Oh, there's a excuse me, a long history of small Canadian companies coming out of nowhere in this business and doing very well.
I love that when I travel, and you're never sure what kind of reception you're going to get, but Canadians are very well respected in terms of our ability to innovate and bring that to the table. And I have yet to come across someone that's not impressed with Canadians' technology. Thinking about our environment. Right. We have difficult geophysical challenges. We have climate. We have half the year that's not easy to get to some of our drilling sites. So we have to have our assets be even more efficient because we have to pay off that capital asset in fewer drilling days than you do elsewhere in the world. So
no, I get it.
Yeah.
Are you just looking at the various elements of this? Are you seeing your drilling contractor clients Are you seeing capital budgets again?
You know what? I would liken it to people are driving through the dealership. They're looking.
Okay.
They don't necessarily have the cash in their pocket yet, and we will be at
But they need a new car.
But they need a new car, and they know they need a new car if they want to
Yeah.
continue to play where they play. So really, our story is, if you want to be different, if you want to differentiate yourself, and there's a finite number of vendors that do what we do, then we'd invite you to take a look at us. We do bring something different to the table, and that becomes apparent when you see the equipment.
Huh.
So we've been talking to people for a long time. Feels like a long time when you're in business development. It's been the last 2 years, but the quality.
It's been a long 2 years.
The quality of the conversations we're having are excellent, and it's very encouraging. And so we'll see where we land.
Right. How many people work there?
You know what? We have a little bit of a different model, which is why we're able to do what we do. So we have a core group of people. We get less than 10. At our heyday, in probably 2014, we were about 20, 25 people with contractors.
Right.
But we subcontract specific aspects of our operation, including our machining and fabrication,
Okay.
to a place actually in Saskatchewan that has about 50 really solid guys, small town, built their careers there, have families there, don't move for a dollar or two. So the quality of the materials that they bring back to us are exceptional. And we, depending on the project, we will source from a couple of engineering firms that we work with.
Okay.
And the reason that plays for us is that all of our designs are based on technical, practical field experience. So they're designed in concert with our field technicians. Virtually everybody at the company, with the exception of me, is a journeyman something, Red Seal something.
Okay.
And so they bring that practicality because they've been in situations where they've been international and they've waited 3 weeks for a sensor. And it's like, you know what, it doesn't have to be that way. Let's design it differently.
There's no question that after sales service, excuse me, of increasingly complex drilling equipment.
It's a big issue.
Yeah, and we've absolutely built that into our models in terms of predictive maintenance. Let's talk about, when we need to take this down. Let's plan it around the rig move. None of this should be a surprise.
Who are the key rig guys?
The key rig guys in our
Yeah, in your
organization.
company. Yeah.
You know what? We have a number of folks that we go to in terms of equipment design.
Okay.
I would say that one of our founders was involved in the initial organization, and he has a ton of sort of international drilling experience. But most of the folks have spent so many years on rigs as a service technician
Oh.
that's where they've gleaned their experience.
Okay.
And we really partner with our customers, so we'll bring them in. And that's the other thing that we get to do a little bit differently is there's not a finite number of things that we do. They're like, you know what, we want this, but we want a little bit different.
Well, they all
They
want-
all do.
They all need special stuff.
And there's a line that you have to draw in order
To make money out. Yeah,
Exactly.
no. Hey, I know all about this. I was in this business. So look, I think I get it. So looking at the various product lines, all these rigs have got a top drive. I don't know how many of those you're going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But is it the pipe handler that it's going to be, or the wrench, as you call it? Is that probably the thing that's going to move the fastest, the soonest?
That's really where our expertise is, and that's where we've spent the bulk of our investment.
Okay.
Is the automated floor wrench, and I should say that one of the reasons why we feel that that's going to be the game changer for us is that typical wrenches, the way they grip the pipe is
No, you
from-
talked about that. We're
from
going
the
to.
side, but we've designed a modular basically spinner that will enable us to run casing, and so that elimination of that third party
Right.
casing running company
Okay.
is really where we'll make some inroads. And
So you've got okay, I want to call it an iron roughneck. You want to call it a pipe handler. Same thing.
it's just I don't want to step on any of my competitors' toes.
Wow, that's the term.
It's like tissue cleaning.
When I worked on
whatever.
rigs, I was an iron roughneck too.
Yep.
But
So it is the pipe handling tool that's got the. What's the next product in the queue?
You know what? As the rig floors get higher, more and more people are looking to upgrade their automated pipe handling from the ground.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of talk about safety.
Yeah.
You don't want people in the drop zones. If they're not in the drop zones, they can't get hurt. If they're not
Yeah.
in the rotating zone, they can't get hurt.
Yeah.
Safety is more and more beginning to drive that
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, well, that can be having a couple guys on the ground just to roll pipe. So anyway, so your customer is the Canadian drilling contractors. Like it's not intuitive to me that the big dogs wouldn't want to do this another way. I mean, you've already said that Neighbors is sort of self-contained that way. But what do we got next? We got Enzyme, we got Precision. These guys are.
You're right. We have a finite amount of rigs in the Canadian market right now,
Yeah.
and we do think it'll be a while before that rig count climbs back up. To be very candid, we are looking very carefully at the U.S. market. We expect to absolutely be in West Texas by the end of the year, and we've had inquiries and conversations about what that looks like.
Right.
I mean, they've got just under 500 rigs yesterday, just in the Permian. So
Yeah.
you can kind of go where your customers are, right?
All right. So just to wrap up, the point is a couple tough years. You laid low.
Yep.
17, the lights came on. Rigs are going back to work, and as you say, the people are walking through the dealerships,
Yep.
maybe looking at a new car. And you think that's going to change over the course of the rest of the year? This is going to translate into sales?
I'm not certain that anyone's capital budget's going to get real healthy by the end of this year.
Okay.
I'm taking a little longer view
Okay.
in my forecast, but these are long decision cycles. And
Well, particularly when you spend as much money as you have and been rewarded as poorly as you have. They spent billions. I've added this up. They spent billions on new rigs and then rocked them all, right?
Right.
And then the reward after being rocked was to come back at a much lower rate. And so,
which is hard to swallow, right? So that's why we think it'll be a little while, especially up here. And let's be honest, we have a rig fleet. Again, to keep with the car analogy, they're all late model. Like
it's all pretty
we have
new. Yeah.
great gear up here. That's not necessarily true of the rest of the world.
Okay.
So.
All right. So they're a little catch up everywhere else.
I think so, and I think the importance of safety is resonating elsewhere in North
No,
America.
the capital investment to upgrade the North American rig fleet in the last 10 years has been staggering.
Yes.
I'm one of the few guys that added it up. I only did it in Canada. So, but
it's unquestionable, and for us, it's we get that, and we're not asking them to change what they're doing. We really, if we can add value, not everyone's going to be our customer.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole point is in your view, the thesis of your company is the evolution of the old rotary vertical rig
Yes.
to the automated horizontal honker of the future is not yet done.
Definitely not yet.
All right, cool. Okay, you're in sales and you're not stuck for words when I ask you a question. Just as one last question, what is the last thing you'd like to tell whoever listens to this?
You know what? I think what for me I'd like to characterize is sort of what our ideal prospect, what kind of characteristics they might have.
Okay.
They'd be folks that were looking to do more with less, be creative. They'd need to be not necessarily risk takers, but willing to take a chance for the benefit, if they see benefits in what that technology might bring them. And it may even have been you that has said this, in this industry is full of people that are first to be second. And
Not me, but I like the line.
we are looking to develop strategic partnerships with folks that feel that they bring that to the table. And, those are, another conversation. But it's little companies just like ours that have driven a lot of the innovation that you see in the oil field now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And we're looking to be part of that. And we have been in the past, and we know
Okay.
we can do it again.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Fascinating.
David. It was a pleasure to meet
I'm a
you.
lot smarter than I was 20 minutes ago.
Lovely. Take care.
Thank you for listening, everyone. We encourage you to share this broadcast in your social media channels. Until next time, have a great day.